You wake to the faint, stubborn cold that refuses to leave the body, even when the night has passed. It sits in the joints, in the narrow spaces between fingers, in the hollows behind the knees. The air smells of salt and wet wool. Somewhere nearby, metal creaks with a slow, tired rhythm, the sound of a ship that has not yet decided whether it is finished moving or merely resting. You are not in your own bed. The mattress beneath you is thin and narrow, stretched tight, meant for brief rest rather than true sleep. A blanket lies over you, coarse and heavy, its fibers still damp. When you breathe, your chest rises carefully, as if testing whether the air will permit it. Each breath fogs faintly, then vanishes. Around you, others lie in similar rows, bodies wrapped in borrowed coats, boots placed carefully beneath benches, laces tucked away. No one speaks. Even those who are awake keep their mouths closed, lips pressed together as if words might disturb something fragile. The light comes slowly, not sunrise, but a grayness filtering through a round glass window, dulled by frost and spray. It spreads without warmth. You can tell time only by habit, by the dull ache in your stomach and the stiffness in your hands. Morning, perhaps, or simply the next segment of endurance. A bell sounds once, then stops. Its tone is flat, not ceremonial. A signal rather than an announcement. You sit up carefully. The motion sends a small wave of cold through your spine. Your clothing is still what you wore before, layers chosen for comfort rather than survival. A woolen coat hangs heavy on your shoulders. It seems stiff with salt. Beneath it, a shirt clings slightly to your skin. Nothing here is fully dry. As you swing your feet down, the deck presses its chill through the soles of your boots. The wood feels swollen, uneven, as though it has taken in more water than it was meant to hold. You keep your weight balanced, instinctively steady. Along the wall, metal hooks hold life belts in uneven lines. Some are missing. Others hang at angles, straps twisted. The sight registers without urgency, the way the mind notes objects when it is too tired to ask why. A figure passes the doorway, moving slowly, shoulders bent. He carries a clipboard, the paper held flat against the board with one gloved hand. His other hand grips a pencil stub. He pauses, glances in, makes a mark, and moves on. No words are exchanged. You pull the blanket tighter around your shoulders before standing. The blanket is not yours. It smells faintly of another body, of damp hair and fear that has since gone quiet. You fold it once, then again, and place it back where it was. The gesture feels important, even if no one is watching. Outside the compartment, the passageway is narrow. The floor slopes slightly, reminding you that this place is not meant to be still. People move with care, making room for one another without touching. Hands stay close to bodies. Eyes remain lowered. The ship's interior is dim, lit by a mixture of weak electric light and whatever daylight manages to slip through portholes. Condensation beads on metal surfaces. When you brush a railing, cold water wets your palm. You make your way upward, following the slow flow of bodies toward an open area. Each step feels deliberate. The staircase treads are worn smooth, edges rounded by years of shoes. Your fingers trail along the banister, its varnish dulled and scratched. At the top, the air changes. It smells cleaner, sharper. The open deck stretches ahead, framed by low rails and the pale, indifferent sea beyond. Ice glints faintly in the distance, scattered like debris from a shattered mirror. The horizon is flat and endless. The water moves with a slow, rolling patience, untroubled by human schedules. You step out onto the deck. The cold here is different. It does not cling. It presses. Wind moves across your face, slipping beneath your collar, finding gaps you did not know were there. You pull your coat closer, shoulders rising without conscious thought. Others stand nearby, spaced apart. Some lean against the rail, hands wrapped in cloth. Others sit on benches, back straight, eyes unfocused. No one looks directly at the sea for long. A steward approaches, his uniform darkened by moisture. The brass buttons are dull, their shine muted. He carries a large metal urn, steam barely visible at its spout. In his other hand, he balances a stack of tin cups. He stops near you and pours. The liquid is dark and thin. Tea, perhaps, or something meant to resemble it. You accept the cup with both hands. The metal burns slightly against your fingers, then settles into warmth. You drink slowly. The taste is weak, but the heat matters. It spreads through your mouth and down into your chest, meeting the cold and pushing it back a little. You swallow carefully, aware of the empty space in your stomach. Nearby, someone coughs once, then presses a handkerchief to their mouth. The sound is absorbed by the wind and disappears. A small table has been set near one of the deckhouses. On it sit loaves of bread, sliced thickly, the crust hard and pale. A knife lies beside them, its handle worn smooth. A crewman cuts without ceremony, placing pieces onto a tray. When it is your turn, you take one slice. It is dense and dry. You break off a corner and chew slowly. The bread scratches slightly on the tongue, but it fills the mouth, gives the jaw something to do. You eat without haste, letting each bite last. The rhythm of the ship continues beneath you. A low vibration passes through the deck, not constant, but steady enough to remind you that movement is still happening. Somewhere below, you notice the clothing around you, coats of different cuts and colors, some lined with fur, others thin and frayed, hats pulled low, scarves wrapped tightly. Many garments are not what their wearers would have chosen for a day at sea. Evening shoes paired with heavy coats, dresses peeking out from beneath borrowed blankets. Everything mismatched, layered hastily. The sea air carries moisture that settles into fabric, making it heavier. Wool absorbs it willingly, becoming denser, slower to dry. You can feel it in your sleeves, in the hem of your coat. A bell rings again, twice this time. A different sound, slightly higher. People turn their heads but do not move quickly. A voice follows, measured and calm, announcing instructions in a practiced tone. You do not catch every word, but the cadence is familiar, guidance rather than command. You remain where you are, hands around your cup, watching the steam thin and fade. The sky above is a uniform gray, neither stormy nor clear. Snow flurries drift past, light enough to vanish on contact with the deck. Time stretches. Without clocks or routine, minutes lose their edges. You stand, then sit, then stand again, guided more by the stiffness in your legs than by any signal. Your thoughts move slowly, as if wading through water. Simple observations surface and sink. The way the metal rail numbs the fingers. The sound of gulls far off, their cries thin and distant. The faint smell of coal smoke from somewhere below. A crewman walks past, carrying a stack of folded canvas. He sets them down near a cluster of people and begins distributing them. They are rough and stiff, smelling of tar and storage. When one is handed to you, you take it without comment. You drape the canvas over your shoulders. It does little to soften the cold, but it blocks the wind slightly. The weight is reassuring in its way. Nearby, a woman sits with her hands folded in her lap, posture straight despite the cold. Her hat remains on, pinned carefully in place. She stares at the deck, not at her hands. Her breathing is even. No one cries. No one laughs. The mood is not heavy with emotion so much as it is flattened by exhaustion. What remains is routine. Stand, sit, eat, drink, wait. As the morning continues, the light shifts imperceptibly. The gray grows marginally brighter, then settles again. The sea remains unchanged. You finish the last of your bread and wipe your fingers on the inside of your coat, careful to keep movements small. The cup is collected, replaced with nothing. You lean against the rail and look out once more. Ice drifts slowly, turning as it passes. Each piece moves on its own path, unbothered. The ship carries on. So do you, by standing, by breathing, by keeping your hands from trembling too much in the cold. Nothing is resolved. Nothing is announced. The day simply continues, one careful moment after another, as the sea stretches on and the ship holds its course. You wake again without the certainty of having slept. The body knows rest only by comparison, and here there is little to measure against. Your limbs feel heavier than before, as though the cold has settled deeper overnight, lodging itself beneath muscle and bone. When you shift, the fabric around you rustles softly, damp wool against canvas, canvas against wood. The space you occupy now is different from the earlier compartment. It is wider, less enclosed, though still crowded with bodies arranged in careful, unconscious order. Benches line the walls. Between them, narrow aisles allow slow passage. The ceiling arches overhead, its metal ribs faintly visible through layers of paint and condensation. Light enters from high windows, pale and indirect. Frost rims the glass, softening the shapes beyond into blurred brightness. You can see breath again, your own and that of others, rising and dissolving in the air. You remain seated for a moment, hands resting in your lap, feeling the stiffness in your fingers ease only slightly as blood returns. Around you, people wake in stages. Some sit upright immediately, eyes open but unfocused. Others remain still, their breathing shallow and even. A steward moves through the space, his steps deliberate. He wears the same uniform as before, though it appears darker now, soaked through in places. He pauses beside each bench, glancing down, making quiet assessments. Occasionally he bends to murmur something too soft to distinguish. You stand when space opens ahead of you, careful not to brush against anyone. The floor beneath your boots feels firmer here, less warped, though still cold. Your knees complain briefly, then settle. The smell in this room is different from the deck. Less salt, more human. Wet clothing, leather, faint traces of soap, and the ever-present metallic tang of the ship itself. It is not unpleasant, merely persistent. Along one wall, large crates are stacked neatly. They bear stenciled markings, letters partially smudged by moisture. A crewman opens one and begins handing out folded garments. Coarse sweaters, scarves, knitted caps. They are plain and utilitarian, their colors muted gray, brown, dull blue. When one is offered to you, you accept it. The wool is rough but dry. You pull it over your head, careful not to disturb your collar. The added layer traps a little warmth, enough to notice. You flex your fingers inside the sleeves, testing the new fabric. Food arrives again, this time in a more organized manner. Long tables are set up along the center of the space. On them sit large tins and baskets. Bread once more but softer than before. There is also a pale stew ladled into bowls, thin, with visible pieces of potato and something darker that might be meat. You join the slow line that forms. No one pushes. No one speaks loudly. The movement is patient, almost ritualized. When you reach the table, a bowl is placed into your hands. The ceramic is chipped but clean. You find a place to sit and eat. The stew is warm enough to send a faint heat through your palms. You blow gently across its surface before tasting. The flavor is mild, seasoned sparingly, but the warmth matters more than the taste. As you eat, you observe small details. A man across from you holds his spoon awkwardly, his fingers stiff and swollen. He pauses between bites, resting his hand on the table as if gathering strength. A woman nearby feeds a child, breaking bread into small pieces and dipping them into the broth before offering them. Clothing continues to draw your attention. Some garments are finely made, their quality apparent even now, dulled by exposure. Others are patched repeatedly, the mending visible and careful. Buttons are mismatched. Sleeves have been let out or taken in hastily. The social distinctions that once mattered feel blurred here, though not entirely erased. After the meal, bowls are collected. The tables are wiped down with cloths already damp from use. The room grows quieter again, the low murmur of voices fading. Time stretches. Without clear tasks, the body becomes aware of itself in small ways. The ache in your shoulders, the pressure at the base of your skull, the way your boots rub slightly at the heel where they have not yet dried. You shift position, leaning back against the bench. The wood is cold but solid, presses into your spine, grounding you. A faint vibration runs through the floor, then steadies. The ship is moving again, or perhaps has been all along. The sound is subtle, more felt than heard. like a distant engine humming through layers of material. Later, how much later you cannot say, you are guided back toward the deck. The transition from enclosed space to open air is gradual. First the smell changes, then the light, then the sound of wind. Outside, the sky has altered. It is brighter now, though still overcast. The gray has thinned, revealing a pale, luminous quality. Snow flurries have stopped, leaving the deck slick and shining. You step carefully, aware of the moisture beneath your boots. Crew members move among the people, repositioning benches, adjusting ropes, checking fittings. Their movements are practiced and efficient, bodies accustomed to working in cold and motion. You take a place near the rail again. The sea looks much the same, though the ice appears slightly farther apart. Each piece drifts independently, turning slowly as the water carries it. Wind tugs at your clothing. The added sweater helps, but the cold still finds its way in. You keep your hands tucked beneath your arms, conserving warmth. Around you, people settle into quiet routines. Some walk slow laps along the deck, moving just enough to keep circulation going. Others sit wrapped in blankets, eyes closed. A few speak softly, voices low and measured. You overhear fragments of conversation, not stories but logistics, questions about belongings, mentions of names spoken without emphasis, directions exchanged quietly. Everything is practical. A sailor adjusts a lifeboat nearby, checking the lashings. The boat rocks gently, its hull marked by scuffs and salt stains. Ropes creak softly as he tightens them. The afternoon light, if it is afternoon, begins to slope subtly. Shadows lengthen, though the sun itself remains hidden. The temperature drops incrementally, enough to be felt. You are handed another cup of hot liquid. This time it tastes faintly of broth rather than tea. You sip it slowly, letting the warmth linger. Fatigue settles over you like an extra garment. Not sudden, but gradual, a heaviness that encourages stillness. You find a bench and sit, shoulders relaxing despite the cold. Your thoughts wander without urgency. Simple images surface. The pattern of frost on metal, the way breath clouds and clears, the steady rhythm of waves against the hull. You do not chase these thoughts, you let them pass. As evening approaches, lanterns are lit along the deck and inside the ship. Their light is soft and yellow, casting gentle halos that blur edges. Shadows grow deeper but not threatening. You are guided back indoors once more. The interior feels warmer now by contrast, though the temperature has likely not changed. The body adapts, recalibrating its sense of comfort. Blankets are redistributed. You receive one again, heavier than the last. You wrap it around yourself and sit where space allows. Dinner is simple. More bread, a small portion of cheese, another bowl of thin stew. You eat slowly, savoring the warmth. Afterward, there is nothing to do but rest. People settle into positions that will allow some measure of sleep. Boots are loosened but not removed. Coats remain on. Hats are pulled down. You lie back against the bench, blanket tucked beneath your chin. The lantern light dims slightly as someone turns it down. The hum of the ship continues, steady and low. Your eyes close. The cold remains, but it is familiar now, something to work around rather than fight. Breathing slows. Muscles relax incrementally. The day ends not with an event, but with a gradual easing into stillness. The ship moves. The sea waits. You rest, suspended between wakefulness and sleep, carried onward without needing to decide anything more. You wake to movement rather than sound. A subtle shift beneath your body, a slow roll that travels through wood and metal before settling into stillness again. The ship breathes in this way, not loudly, not insistently, but often enough that the body learns to recognize it even in sleep. Your eyes open to dim light. Lanterns still glow, though they have been turned down further, their glass dulled by soot and condensation. Shadows lie thicker now, pooling beneath benches and along the curve of the walls. The air feels heavier, saturated with breath and damp fabric. For a moment you do not move. You lie on your side, blanket pulled close, listening to the small sounds around you. Someone shifts nearby, the scrape of a boot against the floor. Farther off, A low cough, carefully restrained. Somewhere above, metal creaks faintly as the ship adjusts to the water. You sit up slowly. Your neck protests, stiff from hours spent in one position. You roll your shoulders, feeling joints loosen reluctantly. The cold has changed character overnight. It is no longer sharp, no longer biting. It has settled, becoming a constant presence rather than an intrusion. Others wake around you in the same gradual manner. No one startles. No one rushes. Morning arrives without ceremony. A steward enters, carrying a lantern in one hand and a small bell in the other. He rings it once, softly. The sound is muted by the enclosed space, absorbed rather than echoed. People respond by standing, by gathering their belongings, few though they are, and by forming loose lines without being told. The pattern feels familiar already, established through repetition rather than instruction. You join the movement toward the passageway. The floor is cold beneath your boots, but drier than before. Someone has wiped it down during the night, leaving faint streaks where cloth met metal. As you ascend toward the deck, the air grows fresher. The smell of the sea returns, mingling with coal smoke and frost. You pause briefly at the top of the stairs, steadying yourself with the rail. Your fingers tingle as blood returns. Outside, the world has shifted again. The sky is lighter now, the gray thinning toward a pale, diffuse brightness. The horizon remains indistinct, sea and sky blending into one another without a clear boundary. Ice is still present, but more scattered. Larger pieces drift slowly past, their edges softened by meltwater. Smaller fragments bob and turn, catching the weak light before slipping away. The wind is gentler today. It moves across the deck without force, enough to stir loose fabric and carry sound. You draw your coat closed, but you do not hunch as tightly as before. Crew members are already at work. They move with quiet purpose, checking ropes, adjusting fittings, clearing patches of ice from the deck with long-handled tools. Their movements are economical, practiced. Each task flows into the next without wasted effort. You notice how they dress. Heavy wool coats layered over uniforms, collars turned up, gloves thick and worn smooth at the palms. Their boots are sturdy, designed for traction, soles scarred by use. Everything they wear serves a function. You find a place along the rail and rest your hands on it briefly, feeling the cold metal through your gloves. The vibration beneath your feet is more noticeable now, a steady hum that suggests forward motion. Breakfast arrives in much the same way as before. Bread, sliced thickly. A warm drink poured into tin cups. This time there is also a small portion of porridge, pale and steaming faintly. You accept your portion and sit on a bench nearby. The porridge is plain, lightly salted. You eat slowly, letting the warmth spread. It fills your stomach just enough to ease the persistent hollow there. Around you, similar scenes unfold. People eat in silence or speak softly, voices low and restrained. There is no sense of hurry. The day stretches ahead without clear markers. After the meal, you remain seated, cup warming your hands. The deck feels calmer today. Fewer people pace. More sit, conserving energy. Time passes in small increments. The light shifts almost imperceptibly. The wind changes direction, carrying the scent of ice and open water. A sailor pauses near you, checking a length of rope secured to the rail. He tests its tension with a practiced tug, nods to himself and moves on. You watch him for a moment, noting the ease with which he works despite the cold. You become aware of your own body again. The way your feet ache slightly, cramped by hours in damp boots. The dull soreness along your lower back. You shift position, careful and slow. A woman sits a short distance away, mending something with needle and thread. The fabric is dark, the stitches small and neat. Her hands move steadily, fingers practiced. She works without looking up, guided by touch as much as sight. Nearby, a child sits wrapped in a blanket, leaning against an adult's side. The child's eyes are closed, face relaxed in sleep. The adult remains still, one arm curved protectively. The ship continues its steady progress. Occasionally, there is a subtle change in motion, A slight roll, a gentle lift, then it settles again. The rhythm becomes familiar, almost comforting. As the day wears on, you are guided back inside once more. The interior feels warmer now, though the difference may be more perceived than real. The body adapts, recalibrates. Inside, activities are minimal. Some people sit quietly, others lie down, resting. A few engage in small tasks, folding blankets, adjusting clothing, organizing the limited belongings they carry. You choose a bench near the wall and sit, back straight, blanket draped over your shoulders. The lantern light is dimmer now, casting long shadows that soften the space. Lunch arrives without fanfare. More bread. A thin slice of meat this time, pale and carefully rationed. You eat slowly, savoring each bite. Afterward, there is nothing expected of you. No duties, no decisions. You rest, eyes half-lidded, listening to the subdued sounds around you. The hum of the ship persists. Somewhere, water laps against the hull, a steady, repetitive sound. It blends with the low murmur of voices, the occasional cough, the soft scrape of movement. Your thoughts drift, not toward specific memories but toward sensations. The weight of the blanket, the temperature of the air against your face, the way the bench presses into your back. You close your eyes for a while. Sleep comes and goes in shallow waves. You are aware of waking, of drifting, of waking again. As evening approaches, the light outside fades once more. Lanterns are adjusted. The interior grows quieter. Dinner is much like lunch, though the portions feel smaller. You eat anyway, knowing the routine now. Afterward, people settle in for the night. Blankets are redistributed. Benches become beds. The space fills with the soft sounds of rest. You lie down, blanket pulled close, boots still on, coat buttoned. The cold remains, but it no longer surprises you. It has become part of the environment, something the body accounts for automatically. Your breathing slows. The hum of the ship continues, steady and unchanging. The sea carries you onward. The day ends not with a conclusion, but with continuity. Another cycle completed. Another stretch of time passed quietly, held together by routine and endurance. You wake before the lanterns are turned up, before the stewards begin their quiet rounds. It is not a sharp waking, not a sudden return to awareness, but a gradual one, as though the body has finished resting all it can manage and simply stops pretending to sleep. The space around you is still. Most bodies remain where they settled the night before, wrapped and tucked, breath slow and even. The air feels cooler than it did yesterday, or perhaps your skin has simply grown more sensitive to the difference between movement and stillness. You remain lying down for a while, eyes open, watching the dim shapes overhead. The curved ceiling holds faint streaks where moisture has gathered and run. A droplet forms, swells, then releases, falling to the floor with a soft, almost polite sound. No one reacts. When you sit up, the blanket slides slightly from your shoulders. You adjust it carefully, keeping movements small. The bench beneath you feels harder than it did before, its edges more defined. You notice the way your body has begun to memorize its shape. Around you, waking happens in stages. Someone nearby rubs their hands together slowly, breath fogging in front of their face. Another shifts position, the scrape of fabric muted by wool and canvas. There is a shared understanding now. Mornings are not announced. They unfold. A lantern brightens gradually as a steward adjusts its wick. The light spreads, revealing faces softened by fatigue. No one looks startled. No one looks anywhere in particular. You stand when the aisle clears, careful to place your feet where the floor feels driest. Your boots are still damp, but less so than before. The leather has stiffened slightly, holding its shape. As you move toward the stairs, you notice how instinctive the path has become. You no longer hesitate at turns or reach for the rail without thinking. The ship's interior has begun to feel mapped in your body. On deck, the air greets you with familiar pressure. Cold, yes, but not shocking. The wind brushes past without force, carrying the clean scent of open water. The sky is lighter again, the gray thinning toward a pale, almost luminous white. Ice drifts farther apart now. Larger fields have broken into individual fragments, their edges rounded, their surfaces dulled. They move with the water's slow logic, bumping gently, separating again. You lean briefly against the rail and look outward. The horizon remains indistinct, but the sense of motion is clearer. The ship hums steadily beneath your feet, a continuous vibration that seems to anchor everything else. Crew members are already at work. One scrapes ice from a section of deck with a long-handled tool, the metal edge rasping softly against wood. Another checks a row of hooks, straightening those that have shifted. Their movements are efficient, unhurried. Breakfast arrives as it has before, though the portions feel slightly more familiar now. Bread, warm drink, a ladle of porridge. You accept them without hesitation and take a seat on a bench that has become, through repetition, yours. As you eat, you notice small changes in behavior around you. People settle more quickly. Movements are less tentative. Hands find pockets. Scarves are adjusted with practiced motions. The uncertainty of earlier days has softened into something quieter. After the meal, you remain seated, cup warming your palms. The warmth seeps into your fingers, easing the stiffness. You rotate your wrists slowly, careful not to draw attention. A few people walk the length of the deck, slow and deliberate. Others sit with eyes closed, faces turned slightly toward the light. No one paces. The ship's motion shifts subtly as it changes course or speed. You feel it as a gentle pull, then release. The deck tilts almost imperceptibly, then steadies. Mid-morning passes without remark. The light grows marginally stronger, though the sun itself remains hidden. Shadows soften and stretch, then soften again. You are guided back inside later, not because of any signal you recognize, but because the movement around you begins to flow in that direction. You follow, trusting the rhythm that has formed. Inside, the air feels thicker by contrast. Warmth, such as it is, lingers longer here. You take off your gloves briefly, flexing your fingers, then pull them back on. A steward distributes additional garments. Shawls, knitted mittens, socks. You accept a pair of socks and sit to change them, working carefully to keep balance. The dry wool against your feet brings immediate relief. You slide your boots back on, noticing how the fit feels slightly different now. The morning stretches into something like midday. Lunch arrives with minimal variation. Bread again, a small portion of stew, thinner than before. You eat slowly, aware of how your body now expects this rhythm. Afterward, there is a long period of stillness. People rest. Some sleep. Others occupy themselves with small, quiet tasks. Folding, mending, sorting. You find yourself smoothing the edge of your blanket, then stopping, aware of the repetitive motion. Your thoughts move lazily, not toward worry, not toward anticipation, but toward observation. The way the lantern light warms the metal walls, the pattern of scuffs on the floor, the faint creak that repeats every few minutes as the ship adjusts. At some point, you stand and stretch carefully, arms raised just enough to ease your shoulders. You roll your neck slowly, feeling the tension release in small increments. Outside again later, the afternoon light is softer, more diffuse. The sea appears calmer, its surface less broken by ice. The wind has shifted, carrying a faint, unfamiliar scent. Perhaps land, though you cannot be sure. You sit on a bench near the rail and watch the water pass. The repetition is soothing. Each wave rises, falls, slides away. The pattern holds. Dinner comes earlier than expected, or perhaps time has simply blurred. The portions are modest. You eat without comment. As evening settles, lanterns are lit once more. Their glow feels gentler now, less stark. Shadows deepen, but they do not feel heavy. People begin to settle for the night with less hesitation. Blankets are claimed. Benches are chosen. Positions are adjusted. You lie down, arranging your coat beneath your head for a bit of padding. The blanket rests over you with familiar weight. Your boots remain on, laces loosen slightly. The cold returns as stillness deepens, but it is no longer intrusive. It exists alongside you rather than pressing against you. Your breathing slows. The ship hums steadily. The sea moves around it without concern. Another day has passed, not marked by events, but by repetition, by the quiet work of enduring and adapting. You close your eyes. Sleep comes gently, carried on the same rhythm that has begun to shape every hour. You wake to a sense of balance. Not stillness exactly, but a steadiness that has become familiar enough to register as normal. The ship moves beneath you with a slow, measured confidence, the kind that no longer startles the body awake but carries it gently from one breath to the next. Your eyes open to low light. Lanterns burn quietly along the walls, their flames steady, their glass clouded. The air holds warmth better now, or perhaps your body has learned how to keep what little warmth it gathers. You remain lying for a time, listening. The sounds of the ship have arranged themselves into a pattern you now recognize. The deep, constant hum below, the faint creak of metal adjusting, the soft movements of others nearby. These sounds no longer demand attention. They form a background, a kind of quiet companionship. When you sit up, your joints protest only briefly. The stiffness fades faster than it once did. You draw the blanket from your shoulders, fold it carefully, and set it beside you. The fabric feels less foreign in your hands now, as though it has been yours longer than it truly has. Around you, people wake in near unison, not because they are told to, but because bodies have learned the rhythm. Movements are economical. Blankets are folded the same way. Boots are adjusted with the same small tug at the heel. You stand and step into the aisle. The floor is dry now, cool but no longer slick. Your boots grip without effort. You walk toward the stairs without hesitation, your body already anticipating the slight incline, the turn, the placement of your hand on the rail. On deck, the day has arrived fully, though without brightness. The sky is a uniform pale gray, smoother than before, like a sheet drawn tight. The wind is light, carrying cold without bite. The sea has changed. Ice still drifts, but farther apart, more scattered, as though loosened from whatever held it together. The water between them is darker now, moving with a slow, unbroken roll. You take your place along the rail and rest your hands there briefly, feeling the vibration beneath the metal. The ship's movement is constant, reassuring in its predictability. Crew members pass nearby, exchanging brief glances, nods. Their work continues uninterrupted. Ropes checked, surfaces cleared, equipment adjusted. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is delayed. Breakfast is distributed with quiet efficiency. Bread, warm drink, porridge again. You accept your portion and sit on the same bench you have come to expect as yours. The wood is worn smooth, its shape fitting your body almost too well. You eat slowly. The porridge is thinner today, but still warm. You notice how your body responds more quickly to the heat, how warmth spreads with less resistance. Conversation remains minimal. When people speak, it is to exchange information rather than emotion. Someone asks about extra socks. Another mentions the wind. Voices stay low. After the meal, you remain seated, cup empty in your hands. The habit of holding it lingers even after it has been collected. Your fingers curl naturally, as though the warmth is still there. Time moves in a way that feels different now. The hours do not stretch or drag. They pass quietly, marked by subtle changes in light and temperature rather than events. You stand at some point and walk the length of the deck, slow and measured. Your steps fall into rhythm with the ship's motion. You no longer need to watch your feet. As you walk, you notice details you might have missed before. The pattern of wear on the deck planks. The faint discoloration where salt has dried. The way ropes lie coiled, each loop placed with intention. You pause near a lifeboat. Its wooden sides are scratched and weathered, the paint worn thin in places. The rope securing it is thick, fibers rough beneath your glove. You release it gently, letting it rest as it was. Later, you return inside. The interior feels neither warm nor cold now, simply contained. Lantern light reflects softly off metal surfaces. Shadows gather in corners without weight. Lunch arrives. Bread again, a small portion of stew. You eat with steady patience. The taste is familiar, expected. Your body accepts it without comment. Afterward, a long stillness settles over the space. People rest more deeply now. Sleep comes more easily, even sitting upright. You close your eyes briefly and let your head rest against the wall. You do not fully sleep, but you drift. Awareness fades and returns gently. The hum of the ship remains constant, a thread tying everything together. When you open your eyes again, the light has shifted. The lanterns glow more warmly against the dimming outside. Evening approaches. You are guided back onto the deck one last time before night. The air is colder again, but you adjust automatically, pulling your coat closer, tucking your chin down without thinking. The sea is darker now, the ice less visible. The horizon dissolves into shadow. You watch the water move, the waves catching what little light remains before releasing it. Dinner comes early, or perhaps simply when it does. The portions are small. You eat anyway, understanding the routine now. As night settles, people prepare for rest with practiced ease. Blankets are claimed without hesitation. Benches are chosen without uncertainty. You lie down, arranging your coat and blanket with the efficiency of habit. The position feels right immediately. Your body relaxes into it. The cold returns as stillness deepens, but it no longer surprises you. It has become part of the environment, something your body accounts for without effort. Your breathing slows. The ship moves steadily beneath you. Another day has passed, not through change, but through repetition. Through the quiet work of adjusting, of learning what is required and giving only that. Sleep comes gently, carried on the same rhythm that now shapes every hour. You wake to the absence of something you once noticed constantly. The cold is still present. The ship still moves. The air still carries the smell of metal and sea. But the edge of strain has softened. What remains feels workable, accounted for, folded into the body's understanding of how the day will proceed. You open your eyes slowly. Lantern light glows along the wall, steady and low. Shadows lie where they always do now, familiar shapes that no longer draw the eye. The ceiling curves above you, marked with the same faint lines and stains you have already memorized. You sit up without pausing. The movement no longer requires preparation. Your joints respond with a dull ache rather than protest. You draw your blanket closer for a moment, then fold it with practiced motions and place it aside. Around you, others are already awake, though no signal has been given. Bodies rise in near unison, not from instruction but from habit. Boots are adjusted. Coats are straightened. Scarves are retied in the same careful ways. You stand and step into the aisle. Your feet find the floor confidently. You know where the dry patches are now, where the metal dips slightly, where the air feels cooler. Your hand reaches for the rail before you consciously decide to steady yourself. The stairs feel shorter than before. You climb them with even steps, breathing steadily. When you reach the deck, the air greets you without shock. The wind brushes your face, cool and clean, carrying the open scent of water. The sky is pale, washed of color. Clouds lie flat and unmoving. The light has no direction. It simply exists, filling the space evenly. The sea looks different again. Ice appears only in scattered pieces now, small and widely spaced. The water between them is dark and continuous, rolling gently. The ship moves forward with quiet certainty, the vibration beneath your boots constant and reassuring. You take your place along the rail without thinking. Your hands rest there briefly, then tuck beneath your arms. Your posture adjusts naturally, conserving warmth without tension. Crew members move across the deck in steady patterns. One coils rope with practiced efficiency, looping it evenly without glancing down. Another checks fittings along the side, tapping each one lightly before moving on. Their work continues without pause, without discussion. Breakfast is distributed as it has been for days now. Bread, porridge, warm drink. You accept your portion and sit on the same bench you always choose. The wood holds your weight without creaking. The shape fits you well. You eat slowly. The porridge is thin but hot. The warmth spreads quickly now, meeting less resistance in your body. You notice how your hands no longer shake when you lift the spoon. Around you, people eat in near silence. A few exchange brief comments about the weather or the sea. The words are practical, unadorned. No one raises their voice. After the meal, the space settles into stillness. Some people walk short distances along the deck, stretching legs, loosening joints. Others sit wrapped in blankets, eyes closed, faces relaxed. You stand and walk a short length yourself. Your steps fall into rhythm with the ship's movement. You do not watch your feet. You do not hold your breath. As you move, you notice how your body has adapted. Your shoulders no longer hunch automatically. Your breathing is deeper, slower. The cold still exists, but it no longer demands attention. You pause near a section of rail where the paint has worn thin, revealing metal beneath. You rest your hand there briefly, feeling the vibration, then move on. Later, you return inside. The interior feels stable now, neither confining nor oppressive. Lantern light reflects softly off metal walls. The air is warmer here, held in place by bodies and fabric. People settle into familiar positions. Blankets are draped the same way each time. Coats are folded beneath heads or around shoulders. The repetition is comforting. Lunch arrives without variation. Bread, stew, a small portion measured carefully. You eat slowly, aware of how your body expects this rhythm now. Hunger no longer surprises you. It arrives gently and leaves just as quietly. Afterward, a long period of rest follows. Some sleep fully. Others sit with eyes closed, breathing evenly. You rest against the wall, head tilted slightly, listening to the hum of the ship. Your thoughts drift, but they do not wander far. They stay close to sensation. The warmth of the lantern light on your face. The pressure of the bench against your back. The faint vibration beneath everything. You close your eyes for a time. Sleep comes lightly, then recedes. You wake without confusion, aware of where you are and how the day has progressed. When you open your eyes again, the light has shifted. The lanterns glow brighter against the dimming interior. Evening approaches. You are guided back onto the deck once more. The air has cooled, but you adjust automatically, pulling your coat closer, tucking your chin down. The movement feels instinctive now. The sea is darker, its surface reflecting little light. Ice is barely visible. The horizon dissolves into shadow. Dinner is distributed. The portions are modest. You eat without expectation, without complaint. The routine has become its own sustenance. As night settles, people prepare for rest with quiet efficiency. Blankets are claimed. Benches become beds. Movements are minimal. You lie down and arrange your coat beneath your head. The blanket rests over you with familiar weight. Your boots remain on, laces loosen slightly. The cold returns as stillness deepens, but it is no longer intrusive. It exists alongside you, accounted for. Your breathing slows. The ship moves steadily beneath you. Another day has passed, not marked by revelation, but by adaptation. By the body learning what is required and doing only that. Sleep comes gently, carried on the same steady rhythm that now shapes every hour. You wake already oriented. There is no moment of searching for where you are, no brief confusion to shake away. The ship's interior surrounds you exactly as expected. The ceiling arching overhead, the lanterns dim and steady, the air cool and faintly damp. Your body recognizes the space before your mind gives it thought. You sit up without hesitation. The bench beneath you feels firm and familiar, its edges known. The blanket slides from your shoulders and you fold it automatically, hands moving in the same practice sequence they have learned over days of repetition. The fabric no longer feels borrowed. It has become part of your daily arrangement. Around you, others rise in the same quiet manner. Movements are small and efficient. There is no stretching for show, no audible sighs. Everyone seems to know how much motion their body requires and no more. You stand and step into the aisle. Your feet land where you expect them to. The floor no longer surprises you with cold slickness or unevenness. You know where the surface dips, where it feels warmer from repeated passage. Your hand brushes the wall briefly as you move, steadying yourself more out of habit than necessity. The stairs upward feel shorter now, not because they have changed, but because your body has adjusted to their incline. You climb without gripping the rail tightly. Your breathing remains even. On deck, the air greets you like a familiar weight rather than an intrusion. Cold presses lightly against your face, but your posture shifts instinctively to conserve warmth. Shoulders settle. Chin tucks. Hands tuck beneath arms. The sky is pale and unbroken. Clouds form a single layer, neither threatening nor welcoming. Light spreads evenly, without shadow or direction. The sea stretches outward in dark, steady motion. Ice is rare now, small fragments scattered far apart, drifting without urgency. The ship moves through open water with quiet consistency, its hum beneath your feet uninterrupted. You take your place along the rail, the same spot you have chosen for days. Your hands rest there briefly, feeling the vibration, then withdraw. The metal is cold, but it no longer demands attention. Crew members pass nearby, their work continuing without pause. One checks a line, another adjusts a piece of equipment near the deckhouse. Their movements are smooth, economical. They do not hurry. They do not linger. Breakfast arrives. The routine unfolds exactly as expected. Bread, warm drink, porridge. You accept your portion and sit on your bench. The wood holds your weight comfortably. You eat slowly, letting warmth spread through your chest and hands. You notice how your appetite has settled. Hunger arrives softly now, announced by routine rather than urgency. When you finish eating, the feeling of fullness is calm and unremarkable. After the meal, you remain seated for a while, cup warming your hands. The cup is collected, but your fingers remain curled for a moment, remembering its shape. People around you settle into their own rhythms. Some walk short distances along the deck, stopping at the same points each time. Others sit with eyes closed, faces turned slightly upward. Conversations are brief and practical, exchanged without emphasis. You stand and walk a short length yourself. Your steps are sure, your balance automatic. You no longer measure the ship's motion consciously. Your body adjusts without instruction. As you move, you become aware of how rules have formed without being spoken. Where to stand without blocking passage. How close to sit without crowding. When to move aside. These customs are observed not through explanation but through repetition and quiet correction. Later, you return inside. The interior holds warmth more effectively now, or perhaps your sense of cold has changed. Lantern light glows steadily. Shadows fall where they always do. You sit against the wall and rest. The bench supports your back comfortably. You close your eyes briefly, not to sleep fully, but to rest your senses. Sounds continue around you. The hum of the ship, soft footsteps, occasional murmurs, but they no longer demand attention. Lunch arrives. Bread, stew, measured portions. You eat with the same patience you have learned. The taste is familiar, expected. Nourishment has become functional rather than pleasurable. Afterward, rest stretches on. Some sleep deeply now, bodies slack and breathing slow. Others remain awake, eyes open but unfocused. You drift in and out of light rest, waking without confusion each time. The hours pass without sharp division. Light shifts gradually. The lanterns glow more brightly as the interior dims. In the late afternoon, you return to the deck once more. The air has cooled slightly, but you adjust without thought. Your body knows how to hold warmth now. The sea remains steady. The horizon is soft, blending into the sky. There is little ice visible. The ship moves onward with quiet determination. You sit and watch the water pass. The repetition is calming. Wave after wave rises and falls, each one similar, each one complete. Dinner arrives. Portions are modest. You eat without expectation. The routine has become sustaining in itself. As evening settles, people prepare for rest with the same practiced ease. Blankets are folded and claimed. Benches become beds. Movements are minimal, efficient. You lie down and arrange your coat beneath your head. The blanket rests over you, familiar weight pressing gently. Your boots remain on, laces loosen just enough. The cold returns as stillness deepens, but it feels distant now, something acknowledged and accommodated. Your breathing slows naturally. The ship hums steadily beneath you. The sea carries on without concern. Another day has passed, not through event or revelation, but through the quiet mastery of routine. Sleep comes gently, unremarkable and complete. You wake without moving. Your eyes open, but your body remains still, resting in the position it has learned suits it best. The blanket lies where you expect it to be. The weight of your coat beneath your head feels even familiar. The air presses lightly against your face, cool and neutral. There is no rush to rise. The lanterns glow at the same low level as always, their light steady, untroubled. The ceiling above you curves gently, marked by the same lines and faint stains you have traced many times before with unfocused eyes. Around you, the space is quiet, not silent but settled. Breathing moves in slow patterns. Someone shifts a little farther down the bench, fabric whispering softly. The ship hums beneath it all, a constant presence that no longer registers as sound so much as structure. When you finally sit up, the movement feels smooth, practiced. Your joints respond without complaint. You pull the blanket closer for a moment, then fold it and place it aside. Your hands perform the motion without pause, fingers already knowing where the edge should fall. Others rise nearby in much the same way. There is no signal, no bell yet. Bodies simply respond to the hour as it has been learned. Boots are adjusted. Sleeves are smoothed. Scarves are wrapped with quiet precision. You stand and step into the aisle. The floor greets your feet without surprise. You know its temperature now, its texture. You step around the slight dip near the wall without looking down. Your hand brushes the rail lightly as you turn toward the stairs. The climb upward is easy. Your breathing remains even, unbroken. At the top, the air shifts and you step onto the deck. Morning is already present. The sky is pale and uniform. Clouds stretch thin and flat. Light fills the space without casting strong shadows. The wind moves gently, carrying the clean scent of open water. The sea stretches outward, dark and continuous. Ice is barely visible now, only an occasional small fragment drifting far from the ship's path. The water rolls in long, slow movements, unbroken. You walk to your place along the rail and pause there, hands resting briefly before tucking beneath your arms. Your posture adjusts naturally. Shoulders settle. Weight balances evenly across your feet. Crew members move across the deck in quiet patterns. One checks a fitting, tapping it once before moving on. Another coils rope, the loops falling neatly into place. Their work flows without discussion, without pause. Breakfast arrives as it always does. Bread, porridge, a warm drink. You accept your portion and sit on the bench you have claimed through repetition. The wood feels familiar, its surface warmed slightly by the bodies that have used it day after day. You eat slowly. The porridge is thin but hot. The warmth spreads quickly, comfortably. You notice how little attention you pay to the taste now. The act itself has become sufficient. Around you, people eat in near silence. A few exchange brief remarks about the wind or the sky. Voices remain low, unadorned. Nothing lingers. After the meal, you remain seated for a time, hands resting loosely in your lap. The cup is collected, but your fingers stay curved for a moment, as if the warmth remains. Time passes gently. You stand and walk the length of the deck, then turn back without conscious decision. Your steps fall into rhythm with the ship's movement. Balance comes without effort. As you move, you are aware of how rules have settled into place. Where to walk without crossing another's path. When to pause. When to move aside. No one explains these things. They are learned through repetition, through watching, through the quiet correction of space. Later, you return inside. The interior holds warmth in a way it did not before, or perhaps your body has learned to retain it. Lantern light glows steadily, reflecting softly off metal walls. Shadows gather in corners without weight. People settle into familiar positions. Blankets are draped the same way each time. Coats are folded beneath heads or wrapped around shoulders. The repetition feels natural, unremarkable. Lunch arrives. Bread again. Stew. Portions measured carefully. You eat without expectation. The rhythm satisfies more than the food itself. Afterward, rest stretches long and unbroken. Some sleep deeply now, bodies slack, breathing slow and steady. Others sit quietly, eyes open but unfocused. You lean back against the wall and let your thoughts drift without direction. You become aware of how little effort is required now to exist here. Movements are minimal. Needs are simple. The body has adjusted to what is asked of it. When you close your eyes, sleep comes easily. You drift without falling fully away. When you wake again, there is no confusion. The lanterns glow a little brighter. The hum of the ship continues unchanged. Later, you return to the deck once more. The air has cooled slightly, but you adjust without thinking. Your coat is pulled closer. Your chin tucks down. The movement feels automatic. The sea remains calm. The horizon blends into the sky. The ship moves onward with steady assurance. You sit and watch the water pass. The repetition is soothing. Each wave rises, falls, slides away. Nothing interrupts the pattern. Dinner arrives. The portions are modest. You eat slowly, methodically. The routine holds. As evening deepens, people prepare for rest. Blankets are folded and claimed. Benches become beds. Movements are quiet, efficient. You lie down and arrange your coat beneath your head. The blanket settles over you with familiar weight. Your boots remain on. Laces loosen just enough to ease pressure. The cold returns as stillness deepens, but it no longer intrudes. It exists alongside you, accounted for. Your breathing slows naturally. The ship hums beneath you, steady and unbroken. The sea carries on without concern. Another day has passed, not marked by change, but by continuity. By the body's quiet acceptance of routine. Sleep comes without resistance, gentle and complete. You wake with the sense that the day has already begun without you. Not because anything has been missed, but because the rhythm continues whether you are aware of it or not. The ship moves. The lanterns glow. Breath rises and falls around you. Your presence is part of a larger continuity now, not its center. Your eyes open slowly. The ceiling above you is unchanged. Its curve familiar. Its markings no longer notable. The air feels cool but stable, neither sharper nor softer than expected. You remain still for a moment, listening to the low hum beneath the floorboards. It feels less like sound and more like structure, something that holds everything together. When you sit up, the movement is smooth. There is no stiffness to work through, no hesitation. Your body understands this place. You fold the blanket and set it aside without looking at it. Your hands know the weight, the resistance of the fabric, the shape it should take. Others around you rise in similar silence. The space fills with small, efficient motions. Boots are adjusted. Sleeves are smoothed. No one stretches dramatically. No one sighs. Everything happens within a narrow range of motion, conserving warmth and energy. You stand and move into the aisle. The floor is cool, but your feet register it without reaction. You step around the familiar unevenness near the wall, your body adjusting before thought forms. The stairway ahead feels like a known distance rather than an obstacle. On deck, the air greets you with quiet familiarity. The cold rests against your skin without insistence. Your posture shifts automatically, shoulders settling, chin lowering slightly. The wind brushes past, carrying the open scent of water and nothing else. The sky is a pale sheet, evenly lit without definition. The sea below is dark and steady, its surface broken only by slow, rhythmic movement. There is no ice in sight now. The water stretches uninterrupted in all directions. You take your place along the rail. Your hands rest there briefly, feeling the vibration beneath the metal, then tuck away again. The ship's motion is steady, reliable. It no longer asks for attention. Crew members move through the space with the same measured precision as always. One pauses to check a line. Another adjusts a fitting near the deckhouse. They exchange no words. Their work unfolds as part of the same rhythm that governs everything else. Breakfast arrives. bread, porridge, a warm drink. You accept your portion and sit on your bench. The wood feels faintly warm now, shaped by repeated use. You eat slowly, not from hunger, but from routine. The warmth spreads easily through your chest and hands. You notice how little thought accompanies the act. The body knows what to do. When you finish, you wait without impatience for the cup to be collected. After the meal, time opens wide and unmarked. People settle into stillness. Some walk short, habitual paths along the deck. Others sit with eyes closed, faces relaxed, breathing deep and even. You walk a short distance yourself, then stop and lean lightly against the rail. The movement feels sufficient. There is no need to do more. Inside later, the air feels held, contained. Lantern light glows warmly against metal walls. Shadows rest where they always do. You sit and rest without arranging yourself carefully. Your body finds the position it needs. Lunch comes and goes. Bread, stew, the same measured portions. You eat without anticipation or disappointment. Nourishment has become maintenance, nothing more. The afternoon passes in quiet repetition. You drift in and out of light sleep. When you wake, there is no confusion, no sense of loss. The hum of the ship continues. The light shifts gradually. At some point, you return to the deck. The air is cooler now, but you adjust without thought. The sea remains calm, the horizon indistinct. The ship moves forward without hesitation. You sit and watch the water pass. The pattern repeats endlessly. Rise, fall, slide away, each wave complete in itself. Dinner arrives. The portions are small. You eat slowly, methodically. The routine holds steady. As evening deepens, people prepare for rest. Blankets are folded. Benches become beds. Movements are quiet, efficient, practiced. There is no uncertainty in where to lie or how to arrange yourself. You settle into your place. Coat beneath your head. Blanket over your body. Boots loosened but not removed. The position feels correct immediately. The cold returns as stillness deepens, but it no longer presses. It exists as part of the environment like the walls or the floor. Your breathing slows, deepens. The ship hums beneath you, constant and unbroken. The sea carries on, indifferent and steady. Another day has passed, not through event or change, but through continuation. You close your eyes. Sleep comes gently, without resistance, carried by the same rhythm that now shapes every hour. You wake with the quiet certainty that nothing needs to be decided today. Your eyes open slowly. The light is already present, not strong, not dim, simply there. Lanterns glow where they always have, their flames steady, their glass clouded. The ceiling curves above you, unchanged, familiar enough that you no longer register its shape consciously. Your body remains still for a moment longer than usual, not from fatigue but from ease. The position you lie in holds you without pressure. The blanket rests where it should. The coat beneath your head supports without shifting. The cold exists, but it does not intrude. It has become part of the structure of the day, like the walls or the floor. Around you, breathing rises and falls in even patterns. No one stirs abruptly. There is no signal to rise, and none is needed. The rhythm carries everyone forward at its own pace. When you sit up, the movement is unremarkable. Your joints respond smoothly. There is no stiffness to work through, no pause to prepare. You fold the blanket and place it aside, hands moving with quiet precision. The fabric yields easily, shaped by repeated handling. Others rise nearby, each in their own time. Movements are minimal, efficient. Boots are adjusted, sleeves smoothed, scarves retied. Everything happens within a narrow, practiced range, conserving warmth and energy without thought. You stand and step into the aisle. The floor feels cool beneath your boots, but your body does not react. You know this surface now. You step around the slight dip near the wall without looking. Your hand brushes the rail lightly as you turn toward the stairs, more from habit than need. The climb upward is easy. Your breathing remains even. At the top, the air shifts and you step onto the deck. Morning has settled fully. The sky is pale and continuous. Clouds stretch thin and unmoving. Light fills the space evenly without casting shadows. The wind is gentle, carrying the clean scent of open water. The sea stretches outward in steady motion. There is no ice now. Only water, dark and rolling, extending to an indistinct horizon where sky and sea meet without boundary. You walk to your place along the rail and pause there. Your hands rest on the metal briefly, feeling the vibration beneath, then tuck beneath your arms. Your posture adjusts automatically, shoulders settling, weight balanced evenly. The ship moves forward with quiet assurance. This hum is constant, no longer perceived as sound so much as presence. It holds everything together. Crew members move across the deck in familiar patterns. One checks a fitting, tapping it lightly before moving on. Another coils rope, the loops falling neatly into place. Their work continues without comment, without urgency. Breakfast arrives. Bread, porridge, a warm drink. You accept your portion and sit on your bench. The wood feels faintly warm now, shaped by repeated use. You eat slowly, not from hunger, but from routine. The warmth spreads through your chest and hands easily. You notice how little thought accompanies the act. The body knows what to do. When you finish, you wait without impatience for the cup to be collected. After the meal, the day opens wide and quiet. People settle into stillness. Some walk short, habitual paths along the deck, stopping at the same points as always. Others sit with eyes closed, faces relaxed, breathing deep and even. You walk a short distance yourself, then stop. The movement feels sufficient. There is no need to do more. Later, you return inside. The interior feels contained, held. Lantern light glows warmly against metal walls. Shadows rest where they always do. You sit and rest without arranging yourself carefully. Your body finds the position it needs. Lunch comes and goes. Bread, stew, measured portions. You eat without anticipation or disappointment. Nourishment has become maintenance, nothing more. The afternoon passes in quiet repetition. You drift in and out of light sleep. When you wake, there is no confusion. The hum of the ship continues. The light shifts gradually. At some point, you return to the deck once more. The air is cooler now, but you adjust without thought. Your coat is pulled closer. Your chin tucks down. The movement feels automatic. The sea remains calm. The horizon blends into the sky. The ship moves onward with steady assurance. You sit and watch the water pass. The pattern repeats endlessly. Rise, fall, slide away, each wave complete in itself. As evening approaches, the light softens further. Lanterns are lit again. Their glow gentle and familiar. The deck empties gradually as people move inside, guided not by instruction but by habit. Dinner arrives. The portions are modest. You eat slowly, methodically. The routine holds steady. Afterward, people prepare for rest. Blankets are folded and claimed. Benches become beds. Movements are quiet, efficient, practiced. There is no uncertainty in where to lie or how to arrange oneself. You settle into your place. Coat beneath your head. Blanket over your body. Boots loosened but not removed. The position feels correct immediately. The cold returns as stillness deepens, but it does not press. It exists alongside you, accounted for. Your breathing slows naturally. The ship hums beneath you, constant and unbroken. The sea carries on, indifferent and steady. Time stretches forward without announcement. You close your eyes. There is nothing to wait for now, nothing to anticipate. The routine holds. The body rests within it. Sleep comes gently, complete and untroubled, carried forward by the same steady motion that has shaped every quiet hour.